Hey everybody. Whoops, something just fell off my laptop just at that moment. Fantastic. So here I am today. I'm doing the 2025 book tag or whatever. I've seen a few people do it. It sounds like fun. I decided to do it. So I took some time to write down my list of things because there's actually quite a few. All right, let me grab this handy dandy notebook here and we're going to start going through them. So these are books and just different things about, different tags about books that I have read during the year, maybe wanted to read, different things. So let's go through it. Number one is the most disappointing book of the year. So as I looked, because obviously I went on my Goodreads to just check and remember all the books I've read. I've read 66 books this year, which is pretty awesome. I'm probably going to get at least one more book before the end of the year because I'm working on a Christmas rom-com book right now called The Christmas Catch by Toni Shiloh. She's a Christian author. It's very cute. I found that rom-coms are not really for me, but in written form anyway. So it's fine, but I'm having a good time anyway. That's besides the point. But I may have one more book, is all I'm going to say. But it's not going to be included in this because it's just not. But the most disappointing book of the year, for me, I have two, is Red Rising and Snow Globe 2. Um, Red Rising, I heard a lot about. I heard it compared a lot to The Hunger Games, and so I was intrigued. And I actually went out and bought the book, physical copy, which I should not have done. I should have gone to the library. And that was kind of one of the ones where I learned this is why you borrow from the library first. But needless to say, I was gung ho, and I was convinced that if people who had somewhat my same taste in books said that it was like The Hunger Games, that I would like it. Well, it's not anything like The Hunger Games, except for the fact that there's like trials that are happening, and that's about it. And it's not a pleasant read. I actually hated it very much, and I unhauled it ASAP. So that's it. And then Snow Globe 2, I only actually don't even gave that one away too. I only have the first one left. Um, and a lot of these I won't have to hold up because I've either unhauled them or they were library books. So oh well. But Snow Globe 2 is part of this duology. The first book was great from what I remember. I am actually going to reread it just to see if I actually want to keep it. But I remember really enjoying this, and it left like some really interesting questions to answer in the second one. And the second one just felt like it kind of went off the rails a little bit of what I would have expected to happen because the whole point of Snow Globe is that they're in this globe that is warm, and everybody who is in there, because the whole world is frozen, so everyone who lives in the snow globe gets to live in this like temperature controlled environment. However, the exchange is that your life is going to be a TV show forever, like reality TV. Like you live in Snow Globe, every job you do, even taxi drivers or a janitor, you're all part of a show, okay? Um, and your life is going to be on TV forever. So our main character ends up going there, strange circumstances arise, and she realizes Snow Globe is not what she thought it was, having lived on the outside for the whole time. And so it's all about kind of uncovering secrets. And I don't know, Snow Globe 2 just felt like so strange. Like it answered some questions and some of it was good. Like I feel like the last half was way more interesting to me than the first half, but I just thought it was unfortunately, a poor ending to this story. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. And Red Rising, I just didn't like at all. The next one is what was an underdog book for you? And I have it here somewhere. There's like a whole, I wish you could see this pile of books in front of me right now. What did I do with it? I have it right here. But it is called Real Not Perfect. There it is at the bottom of the pile. Real Not Perfect by Stephanie Coleman. This is a YA book, but it was really good. It talks about a girl who's going through many life changes. Her dad is divorcing her mom, and it's very unexpected. And the reason he's divorcing her is because he's fallen in love with someone else. So it's a lot of dealing with her pain as a young teen and how, you know, she wants to be at the end, like she keeps putting on a good face so people don't know what she's going through, but in the end she realizes she'd rather be real, not perfect, because that's how life is anyway. But what hit home for me is, as a child of divorced parents, her emotions were so real. Like, Stephanie Coleman must also be a child of divorce, because she knew exactly how she was feeling, and it was just really powerful. And this is a Christian fiction, so there's, prayer and, having faith and following God all in this, which is beautiful. But I love that it didn't like try to smooth over the emotions, being like, oh, well, I'll just trust God with it. Like, of course we do, but it doesn't mean the emotions and the pain aren't still there, and the feelings of rejection and all of that. So this was great. It was like 200 something pages, but I couldn't put it down. Like, it was really good. I don't know. I think just, it was just cathartic for my brain. Like, oh, I know what this is like. So that's my underdog book. And what was an overhyped book you read? I wrote down Red Rising again. I just feel like I heard about it all over the place, and I read it and I hated it. So I thought it was overhyped, just a little bit. The next one is a book that surprised you, and I have The Grave Thief by D. Han. The Grave Thief is another, this is written by a Christian author as well. You can tell it's got a lot of the themes, which is really of like um, forgiveness and being who God made you to be, even if maybe it's not perfect, and maybe you want to be a different way, but learning how to cope with the life that you've been given, kind of thing. And it's this is more middle grade, but I just really loved it all. It was so good. Also, asking for help is a big theme in this one. I love that too. And I got this for $1 or 50 cents or something at a library sale, and it is in perfect condition. It is such a good book. I can't wait to reread this at some point. So, really solid. And then we've got um, your favorite book couples of the year. I have a few. I have a few. And I know I said I wasn't a rom com girly, but I did read a lot of coupley books. But none of them were rom coms, I guess. That's the difference. So The Princess Will Save You has Amaranda. I think it's Amaranda and Lucas, or Luca. Sorry, Amaranda and Luca. Now, The Princess Will Save You is kind of like based off of The Princess Bride. So if you like Wesley and Buttercup, you will enjoy this. Except it's, I guess, Buttercup, goes and saves the day instead. But it's really cute, really charming. Their relationship was super believable. Their romance was really sweet. I've wanted to continue on with the series, but because my library has all of them, but I'm also just kind of like, I have so many other books I'd rather read, so I haven't yet. But their relationship is really sweet. And then I also have Sorry and Nathaniel, Sorry and Nathaniel from ASAP by Axio, also a really charming book. Like, see, the K-drama romances, that kind of vibes with me more than like American rom-com style writing, because I think there's more drama. Like, I don't know why Western drama is boring to me. I don't know. But anyway, that was really fun. And Sorry and Nathaniel, again, were really believable. I did read XOXO as well, but Jenny and, oh gosh, what was his name? Jenny and, I don't remember his name. I don't I don't remember his name. Anyway, Jenny and her man, I don't know why, but that romance felt a lot slower to me. And I think it was supposed to. And it's not that it has to be like explosively fast romance. I'd prefer them to like grow together, but like their drama was less fun for me. And I think it's because Sorry and Nathaniel like already were friends, and whatever. Anyway, vibes were just better for me in ASAP is all I'm saying. Okay. And the next one is your favorite main characters of the year. Okay. Yes, I have a few of the books for this. Oh man. Okay, so obviously, Haymitch. This book is gonna come up a lot. Just putting that out there. But Haymitch and a lot of the other characters, I'm so excited to see this on the big screen, dude. It's gonna be the worst. It's gonna be so good though. But Haymitch and honestly the whole like 12 crew, loved them. They were great. Solid. I have more characters, so I'm gonna keep it moving. Um, Haymitch Freerin. Yes. So favorite manga of the year was certainly Frieren Beyond Journey's End. This is fantastic. And my little girl, Frieren, this little elf girl, loved her. She was so funny, cracked me up every time. Um, and I have them written down. Oh, Michael Vey. Michael Vey. I know I grabbed this book. Oh, there it is. And Michael Vey from Michael Vey. Um, so I am going to. I actually got this for $1 from a library sale too, book sale thing. Um, so I got book two. I read book one from my library, loved it, and so I'm gonna continue to read it. These are like giant electrified rats. Well, not giant. I guess they're just from a distance. And I'm excited about this one because he's made friends with some of the other electric kids. And anyway, he's cool because I really liked the moral dilemmas that he faced and how he faced them with confidence and overcame them. And he wanted to do good. He didn't give in to the evil bad guy because it would have been easier. He chose to overcome and with good. So I love that. Love that theme. Okay. Made favorite new author you discovered this year. Who did I discover? Oh, Joseph LeConte. He wrote, let me make sure, because this is a long name, so I want to make sure I get it right. I know I've talked about it before. A Hobbit, a Wardrobe, and a Great War, How J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis rediscovered faith, friendship, and heroism in the cataclysm of 1914 to 18. So this book is fantastic, and I know he's also written another book about Lewis and Tolkien, so I really want to read it. But his writing was really intriguing. Couldn't put the book down. It was fantastic. I would definitely anybody who's a fan of theirs and is a Christian, even if you're not a Christian and you're just a fan of theirs, I think you would really enjoy it. But it is like technically Christian nonfiction, but it's so good. Okay, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And I also have Axio. Obviously, I've read a lot of Axio this year. I read ASAP, XOXO, and Rebel Soul. My library doesn't have the other one in that duology, but I really like Axio's writing style. Less so in Rebel Soul because there's a lot more cursing in that one than there was in the other two. Maybe it's just the style or whatever, but it was good. It was cute. I enjoyed it. And it was also really fast paced and fun. Her characters are really believable. I really enjoyed it. And Shannon McNear, which I have a, yep. So I read Mary by Shannon McNear. Fantastic book. The faith content in this is so good. She is very historically accurate. She loves giving you a lot of details. I would certainly and excitedly suggest it to you. I also had Georgie and Mary kind of scribbled into the corner of the favorite couples. So Georgie and Mary are adorable as well. So okay. Doo, 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 doo. Shannon McNear though. She's an incredible author. That was the point of that. Author that didn't work out for you this year. I kept it simple. Pierce Brown, Red Rising series guy. I don't like his writing at all, and I think that's the main thing is I just don't like his writing. It feels like he's like gross for no reason in his writing. I'm sorry, I don't like it. Nope, not for me. Okay. What is the happiest book you read this year? And I have written down Epic by John Eldritch. So Epic is talking about the story that God is writing. That's like the tagline at the bottom. And it is an incredible book, teeny tiny book. I would show it for you, but my sister is borrowing it. But it's a book about basically the beginning of humanity and the end of humanity and all the in-betweens and how God redeemed us so that we could forever be with him and how much he loves us and how we have a great purpose in him, and even in the future to come we are still going to have a great purpose, and the journey is not going to end for those who are in Christ. And so it's just very exciting, very uplifting, and I'm ready for my adventure. We're on it already. So that's my happiest book. Saddest book of the year. What do I have? Oh, Reign of the Empire was one of them. I don't have that. I borrowed it from the library. Um, really good book, but obviously that book was based on kind of the interim between the fall of the Republic and the Empire coming into power and things like that, and how the Emperor was taking like sole control of the galaxy, but the Senate was still trying to fight it. It followed Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, and like another guy who was a what are they called? The Federation, whatever, the robot guys. Okay. Every like chapter was really interesting to read. Mon Mothmas were probably the most boring, but I loved Bail Organa and I loved the other guy. That name escapes me. They were really interesting. Oh, I guess Saw Gerrera, technically. Saw Gerrera. I don't like Saw Gerrera, but anyway, thankfully the chapters weren't really focused on him. But it was really interesting. It was really fast paced. Except for, like I said, some of Mon Mothma's chapters were really slow, whatever. But overall, it was because you know how it ends with the Emperor taking complete control of the galaxy for the time being, and kind of they're having to surrender it. And like near the end, like Mon Mothma's just trying to like make sure that like they're good, kind of thing. Because the rebellion really isn't even coming into thought right now. They're just trying to protect what they have, and they can't. Um, so it was just really sad. It was just really sad. But I have other books, obviously. You didn't think that you thought this one wasn't gonna make it. You thought this one wasn't gonna make it. This is sad. Especially already knowing how Haymitch is. You go into this sad, okay? You're like, uh-oh, this is not going to be good. And I also have Torn Away, which is a book about a survivor from a massive tornado. Um, that book was crazy. I can't remember the author. Let me just check. But that book was crazy and I loved it so very much. Jennifer Brown is the author's name. And it was just, the emotions were just so real for a teenager having to go through something like that. I would certainly, if you are interested, you should read it, but it's also super depressing. So don't go into it thinking it's like going to be happy. Okay. All right. Let's see. The most frustrating book you read this year. Oh, The Tomb. I talked about The Tomb recently. Um, that was weird. Mostly it was frustrating because of how it ended. It was actually a really interesting story until it just like abruptly ended and you're just like, huh? What happened? Um, some of the like the Seth, the male main character, was annoying as well, but like overall, it was so good until it just stopped. It's like someone like turned off the movie like halfway through. It was so strange. But anyway, and then I also have Royal Heirs Academy on here, which I read very early in the year. But my main issue with that, it was good up until up until the end, and things started like because you had like this good main character, like her name is Sadie. The other three were all kind of like scheming, conniving, trying to make sure that they become the royal person, right? Because it's like they're like going to school and they're wanting to be picked by their grandfather to be the next heir of this, fake country. I don't like, Genovia, but I don't know what it's called. I can't remember anymore. But they want to be they anyway, so they want to all be in control, but there's this one girl, her name's Sadie, and she was never raised even like believing that she was royalty. I don't think the two of them were, one of them wasn't, and then she had no idea either. So okay, two and two, whatever. But anyway, she kind of had the heart of gold, and I was like, okay, like at least we have one that's not like a scheming, conniving loser, not loser, but just like this kid that's for blood. But then by the end, she's the same as them, and I thought that was so stupid because she gets like betrayed by one of them majorly and she gets blackmailed or something like that, and so she turns on them and decides to use revenge on them, and I'm like, why couldn't she have like hung on to the good in her heart and instead like like did a 180 on them with goodness, you know what I mean? Like it just, I don't know, it's possible, y'all. So, I mean, I might read the next book that comes out. I don't know how many are in this series or whatever. I don't even know. Maybe it's already out. I don't know. But whenever it comes out, I'll probably read it. But I'm going to get it from the library. I'm not going to buy it because I'm tired of wasting my money on books I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, anyway, those were them. And what was 12? I didn't write down anything for 12. Oh, the best book adaptation of the year. I think because I have no idea. I don't really go out and see movies. Oh, I did see How to Train Your Dragon, which is technically a book adaptation, but it was the live action, which was an adaptation from the original animated feature, which was an adaptation from the book. However, I did actually read How to Train Your Dragon this year, and it was nothing like the movie. However, I do think the movie is better. The original animated. I mean, technically the live action is exactly the same as the original animated. So I guess it was good. There you go. How to Train Your Dragon. It's better than it's better. Not that I still think that How to Train Your Dragon book is fun, and it certainly has some themes that align that obviously they took for the movie, but I just like the movie better. I do. All right. Favorite covers of the year. So I gave away this book because I hated the book, but I loved this too much. Wings of Starlight. Look at him. Look at him back there. The cover was too pretty for me to get rid of, so I just decided to keep the cover for my man's back here and give away the book because I knew I would never read the book again. And I don't keep books that I'm not going to read again. So, yes, but I love this cover mainly for my dude back here, and so I kept it. And I think that's my favorite. I couldn't think of any other ones that I was like, oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved it. No, no, that was pretty much it. Okay, so a book you haven't stopped thinking about. Where did I put this? Do I have it the right way? Yep, The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis. Um, I got this book for $1 from a book sale. Love it so much. I had a great time reading this, and I have not stopped thinking of the quote well, a couple of quotes that he has in here, but the main one, the main theme of the book being, if any love becomes a god, it then becomes a demon. Like if we make like obviously because we love God, right? God, he gets all of our love, heart, mind, body, and soul. But if we try to give heart, mind, body, and soul to somebody else or something else, it will become a demon in our lives. And I think that that is wholeheartedly true. And I think that's why, you know, people become stalkers and hurt people that they claim that they love because they've become obsessed or made it a god in their lives. And it's just, anyway, he goes through different types of love. It's really powerful. I haven't stopped thinking about it, so that's on the list. I also, again, just making it up. I also think about this one a lot. Okay, all right. So those are my two. Okay, unpopular book that you loved. I don't have this book because I got it from a little free library, and when I was done with it, I knew I wouldn't read it again, so I put it back in the little free library. I think a different one, but still, I put it back. But it was called The Extinction Trials by something. What's his name? Okay, A.G. Riddle. That's his name. Um, so I read it. It was really interesting. I don't know how many people have read this book. I think it came out in like 2020 or 2021. Um, it's not what you would think it is, and I think that's really interesting. Um, oh wait, did I skip? I skipped. I was about to say, I was like, wait a second, this is not the one. Okay, let me skip down then because clearly I have the unpopular book is different. Okay. But this is the most unique concept that I read this year. That's what the Extinction Trials is. I'm sorry. We're just skipping them. We'll go back up to the ones I missed. But the Extinction Trials, you would think, is like I'm thinking Hunger Games, I'm thinking Maze Runner, I'm thinking that kind of thing. No, 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 not at all. Kind of same vibes in that, like, they wake up somewhere and that is strange, but it actually starts out showing like normal life prior to everything ending. So it's an end of the world situation. It is post apocalyptic, but it's like happening in the moment. But you see them before and what their lives were, and then suddenly everything basically shuts down, and then they wake up in a strange place and they have to figure out where they are and they have to go out into the world and all this stuff. And it is fascinating. It was a great and interesting read. I really couldn't put it down because I wanted to figure out what was going on. And like in the end, like it was like okay. I mean, it was not like I will say this book had me like baffled. I had no idea where it was going most of the time, but it was great and I had a great time. And I guess that's it. I would definitely suggest you read The Extinction Trial, especially if you like post-apocalyptic stories and maybe like this like, there's a traitor among us kind of thing. That's fun too. But yeah, it was a great read. I really enjoyed it. And it is a concept that was unique for me. I mean, I know post-apocalypse is not unique, but it's nothing like Fallout. It was nothing like most of the ones that I read, so I had a great time with it. Okay, now we're going to go back to unpopular book that I loved. And I don't have this one either because my brother's borrowing it. But I think the book that is probably most random on my, or not random. I read a lot of Christian nonfiction. This is Catholic nonfiction, but it is called The Bishop of the Abandoned Tabernacle. And I actually got this from a little free library as well. And it was a book about a bishop who was assigned to a certain like church in this really small town. And he was really surprised when he got there because no one seemed happy to see him. And also, he wasn't greeted by, he wasn't greeted, and no one was there when he went into the church. It was dusty and bare, and he was horrified and heartbroken by the fact that the people were not coming to be in the presence of Jesus. And so it is basically his story of explaining, why do we go to church? Let's go to church. We want to be with the Lord. And of course, I know you can be with Jesus wherever you go, but in the Catholic faith, it's really important to be present in the church. I mean, it's important for us as well, but they believe that Jesus is like, he's there. He's in there. You come and see him, come and adore him, right? And um so it was just his story of how he mended the things, how he cleaned out the church and made it a place of greeting, and how he brought people to him. I guess the priest that had been there previously before him had been very anti-children, and so he was calling the children and the families and everybody to come in and spend time in the church. And he really changed a lot of things, and it was a really beautiful story. Again, a tiny book, but it was beautiful, and it was like a gem of a find in a little free library. I suggest little free libraries to you. Okay. Book you thought you'd love, but you didn't. So I read Uglies this year. I liked Uglies. I read Pretties. I started Pretties, and I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand the like Valley Girl like language that all of the pretties were talking. Like, it was too much. And at this point I was like, you know what, maybe Uglies was it for me. Maybe I'm good. And maybe later, when I'm done reading more on my physical TBR and like rereads that I want to do, maybe I will pick up Pretties again. But I don't know. I couldn't stand it. Okay, we talked about the Extinction Trials. Book this year, book you would reread this year, book you read this year that you would reread. We'll get there one day. So this one, I have been thinking about a reread of this like for the past month. I knew I couldn't, well, even before then, I knew I couldn't do it because I have so many other books that I want to read, but I have been thinking about this one. Also, I wasn't going to add this, but all my pens. The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. I read this ages ago. I've had this for so long, but I really want to reread this really bad. It's gonna happen in January, I think. Anyway, that's one of my favorites from like teenagehood. Book you wish you got to this year. Oh, okay. I have these on hand, so let me grab them. I am number 4. I wish I had gotten to this. I definitely am gonna get to it in the new year, but I really want to read this. I'm so curious. And the other one I have, Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. I really wanted to get to this one, but I am doing a Bible study with my church and a book study with my church and a few other books that are going. I have a Bible study going as well, so I just didn't have time to get to this, but it's going to happen. He's got a bookmark in him, like, it's going to happen. Oh, and I didn't grab this, and I'd love to continue reading the Wing Feather Saga. I even got the second book in the series, so I'd like to continue reading. Oh, and also I did grab this at the last minute, but when the day comes, I really wanted to read this year, and it just didn't happen. So I would like to. Oh, I would like to. I really want to at least read the first book. Um, all right. What will you prioritize in your 2026 reading year? So I wrote down books that I am not sure I will like, so I can unhaul them, and Christian fiction. So basically, when I was writing this, I kind of thought of this book, again from a library sale, Forged in Fire and Stars, by Andrea Robinson. I don't know if I like this. I've never heard of this book before, but I want to read it early in the year so that I know if I want to unhaul it. Okay. And I have a few books like that. I Am Number Four is the same way. Like, am I going to like this book or am I just going to unhaul it? Like, you know what I mean? I want to kind of get through as much of my physical TBR as possible so that I can unhaul through things. And of course, more Christian fiction. Like, I even have The Case for Christ. I really want to read that. The thing with Christian fiction in me is that I do take my time in reading it because I want to soak it in. I don't want it to be fast. I want to really take my time with it. Um, so that's more important to me than rushing to get to the next book or whatever. And, you know, I've gathered quite a few Christian fiction books lately. So we're just going to make our way through. That's it. That's my goal. Books you're glad you got off your TBR. Let's see. The Scourge. I'm glad that I read this by Jennifer A. Nielsen. It was a good book, but I don't know, it didn't have the magic of The False Prince for me. Even her historical fiction was really, like, I've only read Lines of Courage, um, but I really liked that, and I liked it more than this. This just didn't quite have the same magic for me. I was really hoping it would be more like The False Prince, but it didn't. I don't know if I'm going to keep it on my shelf, but for now, it's there and I'm glad I got it off my shelf. Oh, and yes, The Mockingjay. Finally read this year. I'd only ever seen the movie before. I'd read all the other ones, but for some reason The Mockingjay just didn't happen. So now I've read it, and I remember why I didn't like Gale, and I like him even less. So there's that, and Uglies. I'm glad that I finally read Uglies. That was not on my physical TBR, but you know, I got it from the library. But I know I won't buy it because I'm not interested. So that's great. Longest book that I've read is Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. I don't have that. It was a library book. I did enjoy it. I started to read the next book in the series, and I found that I was just not clicking with it. I just wasn't interested, and the amount of reading there was to do stressed me out. So I was like, reading is not meant to be stressful. We're putting it back. If we're ever in the mood to read it, we'll read it. And if we're never in the mood to read it, we won't. So that's kind of where I've left it. The shortest book that I read this year was Mummies in the Morning by, it's the Magic Treehouse book, by Mary Pope Osborne. Mummies in the Morning. I have a few of these from my childhood, but this one I actually found at a book sale. I didn't have Mummies in the Morning because I'd gotten rid of it at some point in my childhood or in my older adulthood, but I got it back from a library sale. This was one of my favorite ones. It actually got me really interested in Egyptology and things like that as a kid, tombs and whatnot. It was fascinating. It's still fun. It's still fascinating. Of course, less so because I'm grown up, but it was still fun. I think the smallest book that I had read, or shortest book that I had read prior to reading this, was A.W. Tozer's The Knowledge of the Holy, which is a fantastic book. I would definitely highly recommend. Okay, we're not going to do that right now. I would highly recommend The Knowledge of the Holy by A.W. Tozer. The best series that I read, I have Freerin, which I've shown you. I'm not going to dig into my pile of books right now. Freerin, but also XOXO and ASAP. They were technically like a duology-ish. I don't know. They're both kind of standalones, but they're kind of a duology. Really enjoyed that. Um, most of the books I read did like start a series or part of a series, but I think those two are the ones that stood out in my brain, so that's what I'm going to say. And now Goodreads 2025 reading reflection and a reading goal for 2026. Honestly, so I read 66 books, probably 67 books by the end of this year. And that's a lot of books. I had aimed for 50 because I managed to do 52 last year, so I actually read a lot more. But I also do read a lot of shorter nonfiction and things like that, so I'm sure that's where. And I read a lot of middle grade, so that's why it's a lot more. Um, I'm not like super like goal oriented when it comes to reading. I just like to put up a goal so that I think, oh, let's read a book today. You know what I mean? It kind of keeps me moving with my reading. Um, but reading is about having fun. If you're not having fun reading and a goal maybe stresses you out or something, you shouldn't have a goal. Don't do it. It's not fun. And if you're reading a book just to like meet a criteria for your goal, then don't do that. Read it because you want to read it and because it's fun. Um, that's why I often DNF. I have no problem DNFing books. I have no problem being like, I'm not having fun reading this, so I'm not gonna read it. Um, like even though I'm reading a Christian rom-com Christmas book that is not like my favorite, I'm enjoying it just enough to finish it. Like, am I gonna keep it or buy another one? No, I definitely wouldn't buy another one. But I don't know if I'm gonna keep it, but I'm gonna read it for now just because I am enjoying it, especially for the faith content. It's really good, and it's clean romance. So at least I know I'm safe. You know what I mean? Um, and it's kind of just to try out another genre. I've learned that that's not my genre. That's okay, but it's good to try things so that you know. But anyway, so that's my goal. And I'm just gonna put the goal at the same next year. 50 books. I don't really have any intention of reading more. If I do, great. If I don't, great. I don't really care. But I like to put the goal out there just to remind myself that I can read 50 books in a year if I want to. And if I don't want to, I don't have to. But, you know, the next year might look a lot different. I'm having a job change and I am, I have a niece now and, you know, she's my priority and stuff like that. So, you know, helping out my family and things like that. So, you know, I may not hit that goal at all, but I have a lot of books that I do want to read, and my main thing is finishing off my physical TBR and maybe not buying or not buying. That's an important one, but also not borrowing from the library until I finish what's in my physical TBR. That's kind of my idea because right now I have 4 library books that I'm also trying to get done. I think I showed them before, so I'm not going to show them right now, but yes, I am working on that too. Um, but I am very blessed and very grateful that I have, you know, these books, and library sales are awesome. I like to repurpose, you know, obviously get books that have been used. Um, that's the best way to do it, I think. But I do get a lot of my Christian fiction or nonfiction, my Christian nonfiction from Christian book distributors because they have really good sales. Like last time I bought a few books, I got them for like 50 cents or $1 each. So it's kind of awesome. Um, Utilize that if you need. But you know, I also don't want to be a hoarder of books. I want to be somebody who has a library that it's open and I will give it away at any time. Like, you know, I let my sister and my brother borrow books. I've also, for Christmas, I looked through my library of books and I found a few that I was like, you know what? I know my friends would really like these. I'm going to give them to them as Christmas gifts. And it was great. It was a wonderful opportunity. They had sat on my shelves for like 6 months or so and I hadn't touched them. So that was kind of my like, okay, this is an indicator to me that I may not read these or maybe I'm just not going to get to them, but my friends certainly could. So that's why I wanted to do that. Anyway, that's not saying that you have to do that or anything, but I'm just explaining my mental process. So, but I want to be able to, you know, get through some books, not hoard books, and give away what I don't want. And that's kind of why my goal is to also read more of my physical TBR so I can get rid of things that that are sitting and taking up space. And now that I've read them, I don't want them. You know, oh my gosh, it wasn't for me after all. Okay, you know. So anyway, that's my book tag of 2025. If you would like to play along, I will have it in the description so you can, you know, see your books and what you read and what you really enjoyed and stuff like that. What is your favorite book of the year and things like that? I don't even know if I could pick I guess Sunrise on the Reaping. That one made a lot of appearances. That one made a lot of appearances. Um, so that's that. But anyway, I had a great time reading this year. I can't wait to read more in the new year. I'm very grateful to God for all that He's provided this year, and I'm grateful for being able to share fun little tidbits and my reading and entertainment habits with y'all, I guess. Um, so I guess that's it. I will probably not post anything until the new year. So Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year. I am exhausted coming off of finishing a Christmas choir with my kids this year at my church. I teach the children, and we learned a Christmas song this year, and it was exhausting, but worthwhile. And it's just been great. So God is doing a lot of great things. And I pray that He's doing great things in your life too. I mean, God is always doing great things. Sometimes we just don't always perceive them because maybe we're going through a hard time. But I just pray that you would see that in your own life, how He's working in you and doing great things. And as long as we trust in Him, that's what we have. I even today I read in my Bible study about self-sufficiency becoming an idol in our lives, right? It can, when we become so reliant on ourselves that we are not being reliant on God. And how I think it was John 15, you know, Jesus commands us to remain in Him and He will remain in us. For without Him we can do nothing, and we only in Him can we bear fruit and do great things for the kingdom of heaven. And He also says, like, as the Father's love remains in me, so it remains in you, so remain in me. And it's like, you know, we are always loved. We just need to sit and be at peace and know that He's in control. And maybe the circumstances seem bad. Maybe even evil stuff is happening, but God will overcome all of that. And because there's nothing, He is a God that has never known defeat. He will never know defeat. He's all powerful. So even though evil may seem like it's in control, it's never in control. So I just pray that you would feel that this holiday season, this Christmas season, and that you would know the Lord as Lord Jesus as your Lord and Savior, for we are celebrating His birth, which is so exciting, that God came to earth to save our lives. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. It's just John 3:16. And if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, then you will be saved. That is also somewhere in John, I think. I can't remember. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's somewhere else. I don't know. I read it this morning, but it's already. I'm very good at remembering the verses, not great at remembering where they are, but that's fine. But just know that serving God, living for the Lord, He loves you so much. It is not, sometimes it may be challenging, but it's always, always rewarding. And He loves you, and that's why Jesus came to earth, to save us. So, anyway, I pray for a blessed holiday for everybody, and I hope that you just have a lovely time. And I know that I will. I'm going to have the best time. So, God has blessed me with a wonderful family. So, I am more than happy. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that book tag, and I pray for a great Christmas for you. And just remember that I love you, but Jesus loves you way more. We just talked about that. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Bye, everybody.